The biggest obstacle between you and the life you want is not a lack of talent. It is a lack of belief. Every achievement begins with a decision long before anyone else sees the results. If you constantly doubt yourself, your actions become smaller than your potential. But the moment you choose to believe that you are capable of becoming your best, everything changes. This audiobook is not about arrogance. It is about building unshakable confidence through discipline, action, and relentless self-improvement. Today, you stop doubting. Today, you start becoming. Chapter 1. Win the battle against self-doubt. The greatest battle you will ever fight is not against the world. It is not against your competitors. It is not against the obstacles standing in your way. The greatest battle you will ever fight is the battle happening inside your own mind. Every day, millions of people lose opportunities, abandon dreams, and stay trapped in ordinary lives. Not because they lack talent, intelligence, or potential. They lose because they believe the voice inside their head that says, "You are not ready. You are not good enough. You will fail. Someone else can do it, but you cannot." That voice is called self-doubt. And if you allow it to control you, it will quietly destroy your confidence, your courage, and your future. Self-doubt does not always appear as fear. Sometimes it looks like preparation. You tell yourself you need more time. You say you need more knowledge. You convince yourself that you will start when everything becomes perfect. But perfection is often just fear wearing a different mask. The truth is simple. You do not need to become fearless before you take action. You become fearless by taking action. Confidence is not something you wait for. Confidence is something you build. Every successful person you admire had moments when they questioned themselves. Every entrepreneur who built something great had moments when they wondered if they would fail. Every athlete who achieved greatness had moments when they felt weak. Every leader who inspired millions had moments when they felt uncertain. The difference is not that they never experienced doubt. The difference is that they refused to obey it. They learned one powerful lesson. Your thoughts are not always facts. Just because your mind creates a negative story does not mean that story is true. Your brain is designed to protect you. It wants to keep you safe. It wants to prevent embarrassment, rejection, and failure. But the same mechanism that protects you from danger can also protect you from growth. Think about a person who wants to start a business. They have an idea. They have passion. They have the ability to learn. But before they even begin, their mind creates hundreds of reasons why they should stop. What if nobody buys? What if people criticize me? What if I lose money? What if I fail? The person has not failed. They have not even started. But in their mind, they have already experienced defeat. This is how powerful self-doubt can be. It can make you surrender to a battle that has not even begun. You must understand something important. Self-doubt is not a sign that you should quit. Sometimes self-doubt is a sign that you are standing at the edge of growth. Whenever you attempt something meaningful, your mind will challenge you. Why? Because growth requires uncertainty. Your old identity wants to keep you comfortable. Your future identity requires you to become someone new. And becoming someone new always feels uncomfortable at first. Imagine a person going to the gym for the first time. Their muscles are weak. The weights feel heavy. Their body struggles. Does that mean they are not capable? No. It means they are building strength. The same principle applies to your mind. Every time you face doubt and still take action, you strengthen your confidence. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you rebuild trust with yourself. Every time you do something difficult, you prove that your fears do not control you. Confidence is created through evidence. Your mind believes what you repeatedly show it. If you repeatedly avoid challenges, your brain learns, I cannot handle difficult situations. But if you repeatedly face challenges, your brain learns, I can handle hard things. That is the foundation of real confidence. Not motivation, not temporary excitement. Evidence, small victories, daily proof. You do not defeat self-doubt by arguing with every negative thought. You defeat self-doubt by creating a stronger identity. You stop asking, am I good enough? And you start asking, what kind of person am I becoming? Because your future is not built by your current feelings. Your future is built by your consistent actions. There will be days when you feel confident. There will be days when you feel uncertain. There will be days when your mind tries to convince you to stop. But remember this, feelings are temporary. Commitments are powerful. A person who depends only on feelings will quit whenever emotions become uncomfortable. A person who depends on discipline will continue even when emotions change. That is the difference between people who achieve their goals and people who only dream about them. The world does not reward potential. The world rewards execution. You may have incredible ideas. You may have hidden talents. You may have dreams bigger than anything people around you understand. But if self-doubt keeps you inactive, your potential remains invisible. The goal is not to eliminate every doubt. The goal is to become stronger than your doubts. Because doubt may knock on your door, but you decide whether you invite it inside. You have a choice. You can listen to the voice that tells you to stay comfortable, or you can listen to the voice that tells you to become better. You can protect your old identity, or you can build a new one. You can continue waiting for confidence, or you can create confidence through action. That's the key. The people who transform their lives are not people who never feel afraid. They are people who move forward while fear is present. They understand that courage is not the absence of doubt. Courage is the decision that something else is more important than doubt. Your dreams are more important. Your growth is more important. Your future is more important. So stop giving your doubts unlimited power. Stop treating every negative thought as a command. Your mind can suggest, but you decide. Your fear can speak, but you choose. Your doubt can appear, but you continue. Because the battle against self-doubt is not won in one giant moment. It is won through thousands of small decisions. One action, one promise, one challenge, one victory at a time. And every time you choose courage over comfort, you become someone stronger, someone more confident, someone who is no longer controlled by the limits of yesterday. The battle against self-doubt begins the moment you stop believing every thought that tries to hold you back. And it ends the moment you finally believe in yourself more than you believe in your fears. The most dangerous thing about self-doubt is not the negative thoughts themselves. The most dangerous thing is what those thoughts make you do. They make you hesitate. They make you delay. They make you seek approval. They make you compare your journey with someone else's success. And slowly, without realizing it, they make you become a smaller version of yourself. A person with unlimited potential begins living with limited beliefs. A person with powerful dreams begins making excuses. A person who is capable of greatness begins accepting average. This is how self-doubt wins. It does not destroy you in one dramatic moment. It defeats you through small decisions repeated every day. You skip the opportunity. You avoid the challenge. You stay silent when you should speak. You quit when progress becomes difficult. One small surrender after another. Until one day, you look back and wonder, how did I end up so far away from the person I wanted to become? The answer is simple. You allowed doubt to make decisions that only courage should make. You allowed temporary fear to control permanent choices. And the good news is this. The same way self-doubt is built through repeated thoughts and actions, confidence can also be built through repeated thoughts and actions. You are not permanently stuck with the identity you have today. You can rebuild yourself. You can train your mind. You can become someone who trusts their own ability. But first, you must understand where self-doubt comes from. Self-doubt often begins with past experiences. Maybe someone criticized you. Maybe someone told you that you were not capable. Maybe you failed at something important. Maybe you tried once and it did not work. And your mind created a conclusion. I failed before, so I will probably fail again. But this is one of the biggest mistakes people make. They confuse an event with an identity. Failure is an event. It is not who you are. Making a mistake does not mean you are a failure. Facing rejection does not mean you are rejected forever. Having a difficult beginning does not mean you cannot create a successful future. A chapter of your life does not define the entire story. Imagine a young child learning to walk. The child falls many times. The child loses balance. The child struggles. But the child never thinks, I fell, therefore I am not meant to walk. The child simply tries again. Somewhere along the way, adults learn to fear failure. They start protecting their ego more than pursuing growth. They become afraid of looking foolish. They become afraid of making mistakes. They become afraid of what people might think. But here is a truth you must remember. People who judge your attempts are not the ones living your life. They are not carrying your dreams. They are not responsible for your future. So why give them control over your decisions? You don't need their permission. You don't need everyone to understand your vision. You don't need everyone to support your goals. Many great achievements begin with people doubting you. But the most important person who must believe is you. Because when nobody sees your potential, you still have to continue. When nobody celebrates your progress, you still have to work. When nobody understands your journey, you still have to move forward. This is where self-belief is created. Not when everyone claps for you, but when you continue even without applause. That is true confidence. Many people think confidence means feeling powerful all the time. They imagine confident people wake up every morning feeling unstoppable. That is not reality. Confidence is not a feeling. Confidence is a decision. It is the decision to trust yourself even when uncertainty exists. It is the decision to take action even when the outcome is unknown. It is the decision to keep going even when progress feels slow. Think about a professional athlete. Before a major competition, they may feel nervous. They may feel pressure. They may question whether they can win. But they do not allow those feelings to control their preparation. They trained. They practiced. They built evidence. Their confidence comes from knowing they have prepared themselves. Your life works the same way. If you want confidence, stop waiting for a feeling. Start collecting proof. Keep small promises to yourself. Wake up when you said you would. Complete the task you promised yourself. Learn the skill you said you would learn. Take the action you said you would take. Every promise you keep creates trust. Every promise you break weakens trust. Your relationship with yourself is built through these daily moments. Think about someone you deeply respect. Why do you respect them? Usually, it is because they are reliable. They do what they say. They keep their commitments. They show discipline. Now understand this. You must become that person for yourself. You must become someone you can trust. Because the strongest confidence comes from self-respect. And self-respect is earned. It is not created by compliments. It is not created by attention. It is created by keeping promises when nobody is watching. That is the key. The person who learns to trust themselves becomes extremely powerful because they no longer depend on external validation. They do not need constant approval. They do not need everyone to believe in them. They have developed something stronger. Inner certainty. Inner certainty does not mean you know everything. It does not mean you never make mistakes. It means you believe you can handle whatever comes. You trust your ability to learn. You trust your ability to adapt. You trust your ability to recover. That mindset changes everything. Because life will test you. There will be unexpected problems. There will be moments when plans fail. There will be moments when people disappoint you. The question is not, will challenges come? They will. The real question is, who will you become when they arrive? A weak mindset says, this is happening to me. A strong mindset says, this is teaching me. A weak mindset says, I cannot handle this. A strong mindset says, I will find a way. A weak mindset says, I am not ready. A strong mindset says, I will prepare myself. Your words create your identity. Pay attention to the conversations you have with yourself. If you constantly tell yourself, I am unlucky, I am not talented, I always fail, I cannot change, your brain begins accepting those statements as reality. But if you train yourself to say, I am learning, I am improving, I am becoming stronger, I can overcome challenges, your mind begins searching for evidence to support that identity. You are constantly programming yourself. Every thought is a seed. Every action is water. Eventually, something will grow. The question is, what are you planting? Are you planting fear? Or are you planting confidence? Are you building excuses? Or are you building strength? Remember, you have a choice. You are not controlled by every thought that enters your mind. You are not defined by your past. You are not limited by your mistakes. You are not trapped by your current situation. You have the ability to change. You have the ability to grow. You have the ability to become the person you were always capable of becoming. But it begins with one decision. The decision to stop fighting yourself and start fighting for yourself. Because the greatest victory is not defeating other people. The greatest victory is defeating the version of yourself that keeps you small. And when you win that battle, you unlock a level of power that nobody can take away from you. Your confidence becomes stronger. Your actions become bigger. Your future becomes different. Because once you stop allowing self-doubt to control you, there is almost nothing you cannot achieve. The final stage of defeating self-doubt is understanding one powerful truth. You do not become confident by waiting for proof that you can succeed. You become confident by proving to yourself that you are willing to try. Most people are searching for certainty before they move. They want guarantees. They want to know they will succeed before they begin. They want to know people will support them before they take the first step. But life does not work that way. Every meaningful achievement requires a decision before certainty arrives. You start the journey before you see the destination. You take the first step before you know every step that follows. You begin before you feel completely ready. That is what separates ordinary lives from extraordinary ones. Ordinary people wait for confidence. Extraordinary people create confidence through movement. They understand that action is the cure for overthinking. Action is the enemy of self-doubt, because doubt becomes powerful when you remain still. When you sit and think about every possible problem, your mind creates imaginary disasters. You imagine rejection. You imagine failure. You imagine embarrassment. You imagine everything that could go wrong. But when you take action, something changes. Reality replaces imagination. You discover that the challenge was not as impossible as your mind made it seem. You discover that you are stronger than you believed. You discover that mistakes are not the end. They are lessons. This is why you must stop negotiating with fear. Fear is a terrible advisor when it comes to growth. Fear always chooses comfort. Fear always chooses safety. Fear always chooses the familiar. But your dreams live outside your comfort zone. Your growth lives outside your comfort zone. Your future version lives outside your comfort zone. If you always choose what feels easy, you will always remain the same person. And the person you are today cannot create the future you want tomorrow. You must become someone new, a stronger version, a more disciplined version, a more courageous version. And that transformation begins with small daily actions. Do not underestimate small victories. A person does not build confidence by one massive achievement. They build confidence through hundreds of small moments where they choose discipline over excuses. Getting up when you do not feel like it. Finishing what you started. Doing the difficult task first. Speaking even when your voice shakes. Trying again after failure. These moments seem small, but they are building something powerful. They are building evidence. Evidence that says, I can trust myself. I can handle challenges. I can keep going. And eventually, your identity changes. You stop seeing yourself as someone who is trying to become confident. You start seeing yourself as someone who is confident. Because confidence is not just something you have. Confidence is something you become. Your identity is created through repetition. If you repeatedly act like a person who gives up, you become a person who gives up. If you repeatedly act like a person who takes responsibility, you become a responsible person. If you repeatedly act like a person who faces challenges, you become a courageous person. Your actions are votes for the person you want to become. Every single day, you are voting. The question is, who are you voting for? The person controlled by fear, or the person controlled by purpose? The person who makes excuses, or the person who creates results? The person who waits, or the person who takes action? You have a choice, and that choice is more powerful than you realize. Many people believe their circumstances control them. They say, I cannot change because of my past. I cannot succeed because of my situation. I cannot improve because of my limitations. But successful people think differently. They do not ignore problems. They simply refuse to surrender their power. They ask, what can I control? What can I improve? What action can I take today? This mindset creates progress. Because your life changes when your focus changes. If you focus only on problems, problems become bigger. If you focus on solutions, possibilities appear. Your mind follows your attention. Whatever you constantly focus on becomes stronger. So protect your focus. Do not feed your doubts with endless negative thinking. Do not spend hours imagining failure. Spend your energy building yourself. Read, learn, practice, improve, take action. Your confidence grows when your commitment becomes stronger than your excuses. Remember, it's not about talent. It's about discipline. It's not about being naturally confident. It's about practicing courage. It's not about never doubting yourself. It's about refusing to let doubt control your decisions. Everyone has doubts. The difference is what they do with them. Some people hear doubt and stop. Others hear doubt and continue. Some people see obstacles and surrender. Others see obstacles and become stronger. The obstacle is not the real problem. The real problem is believing that the obstacle is bigger than you. You must change the way you see yourself. You are not someone waiting for permission. You are not someone waiting for the perfect moment. You are not someone who needs everyone's approval. You are someone capable of growth. You are someone capable of learning. You are someone capable of rebuilding. You don't need their permission. You need your own commitment. Because at the end of the day, nobody can walk your path for you. Nobody can do your work for you. Nobody can develop your discipline for you. Nobody can build your confidence for you. That responsibility belongs to you. And that is not a burden. That is your power. Because if you are responsible for your growth, you are also responsible for your transformation. You are not trapped. You are not finished. You are not limited to who you were yesterday. Every morning gives you another opportunity. Every decision gives you another chance. Every action gives you another step forward. So make a decision today. Decide that your doubts will no longer control your life. Decide that your fears will no longer choose your future. Decide that you will become stronger than the voice that tries to hold you back. When doubt says, "You cannot," you answer, "I will learn." When doubt says, "You are not ready," you answer, "I will become ready." When doubt says, "You might fail," you answer, "I will grow." Because failure is not the opposite of success. Failure is part of success. Every mistake teaches you. Every challenge strengthens you. Every setback prepares you. The only true failure is allowing fear to stop you from becoming who you were meant to be. So remember this. The battle against self-doubt is not won by becoming a different person overnight. It is won by becoming slightly stronger every single day. One decision, one action, one improvement, one victory at a time. The person you want to become is waiting on the other side of your excuses. The life you want is waiting on the other side of your fear. The confidence you desire is waiting on the other side of your action. Stop waiting. Start building. Stop doubting. Start believing. Stop asking if you are capable. Start proving that you are. Because the moment you decide that your dreams are more important than your doubts, everything begins to change. Your mind becomes stronger. Your actions become stronger. Your future becomes stronger. And one day, you will look back and realize the biggest battle you ever won was not against the world. It was the battle inside yourself. You defeated the voice that told you to stop. You became the person who refused to quit. You won the battle against self-doubt. And that victory changed everything. Chapter 2. Stop comparing and start becoming better. One of the fastest ways to destroy your happiness is to constantly measure your life against someone else's life. Every day, people wake up and enter a competition they were never meant to join. They compare their success. They compare their appearance. They compare their money. They compare their achievements. They compare their entire journey with someone else's highlight moments. And slowly, they forget something important. Your life was never designed to be a copy of someone else's life. You were not born to become another person. You were born to become the best version of yourself. But comparison has a dangerous way of stealing your confidence. It makes you forget your progress because you are focused on someone else's results. It makes you ignore your own victories because you are watching someone else's achievements. It makes you believe you are behind, even when you are actually growing. The truth is simple. Comparison does not measure your worth. It only measures your attention. Whatever you constantly focus on becomes your reality. If you constantly focus on people ahead of you, you will always feel behind. If you constantly focus on people who have more than you will always feel like you have less. If you constantly look at someone else's chapter 10 while you are still writing chapter 1, you will always underestimate your own journey. You must understand this. You are comparing your behind the scenes with someone else's public performance. You see their success. You do not see their struggles. You see their achievements. You do not see their failures. You see their confidence. You do not see the years they spent building it. Every successful person has a story you do not know. Every achievement has a process you did not witness. Every result has a sacrifice hidden behind it. But comparison only shows you the final picture. It hides the journey. Imagine two people planting trees. One person plants a seed today. Another person planted a seed 5 years ago. The person who planted today looks at the tall tree and thinks, I will never reach that level. But the problem is not their ability. The problem is timing. They are comparing the beginning of their journey with someone else's years of consistency. This is what people do with life. They compare different timelines. They compare different circumstances. They compare different opportunities. And then they judge themselves unfairly. You have to stop doing that. Because your journey is unique. Your starting point is different. Your challenges are different. Your lessons are different. Your purpose is different. The only comparison that truly matters is this. Who were you yesterday, and who are you becoming today? That is the competition you should focus on. Not other people. Not their achievements. Not their speed. Your mission is not to beat everyone else. Your mission is to become better than your previous self. That is where real growth begins. Many people waste years trying to prove they are better than others. They chase success for attention. They chase money for approval. They chase achievements because they want people to notice them. But external validation is a dangerous game. Because when your confidence depends on other people's opinions, you give them control over your emotions. One compliment makes you feel powerful. One criticism makes you feel defeated. One person's success makes you feel like a failure. One person's rejection makes you question your value. That is not freedom. That is emotional dependence. A strong person learns to measure themselves by their own standards. They ask, am I improving? Am I learning? Am I becoming more disciplined? Am I moving closer to my goals? These questions create growth. Comparison creates frustration. Growth creates progress. The problem is not seeing successful people. Successful people can inspire you. The problem begins when inspiration turns into insecurity. There is a big difference. Inspiration says, if they can do it, I can learn from them. Insecurity says, they are doing it, so I must not be good enough. One creates motivation. The other creates weakness. You have a choice. You can look at someone else's success and feel defeated. Or you can look at someone else's success and learn. You can use their achievements as proof that greatness is possible. Or you can use their achievements as evidence that you are behind. The difference is your mindset. A growth mindset does not ask, why are they ahead of me? A growth mindset asks, what can I learn from them? That question changes everything. Because successful people are not threats. They are examples. They are showing you what is possible. If someone built discipline, you can study discipline. If someone developed a skill, you can learn that skill. If someone created success, you can understand the principles behind it. The goal is not to become jealous of excellence. The goal is to become inspired by excellence. But remember, learning from others does not mean losing yourself. You can admire someone without becoming their copy. You can respect someone's journey without abandoning your own. Your path is yours. Your timeline is yours. Your mission is yours. A flower does not look at another flower and say, I am growing too slowly. A tree does not compare its height with another tree. Nature follows its own process. Growth takes time. Transformation takes time. Mastery takes time. But humans often forget this. They want instant results. They want overnight success. They want a shortcut. And when they do not get immediate results, they compare themselves with someone who has spent years building. Then they become discouraged. But success has never worked that way. Great things are built slowly. A strong body is built through consistent training. A strong mind is built through consistent learning. A successful career is built through consistent improvement. A powerful character is built through consistent discipline. Small actions repeated over time create extraordinary results. Never underestimate your small progress. A person who improves 1% every day becomes a completely different person over time. The goal is not perfection. The goal is progress. The goal is not to become better than everyone. The goal is to become better than who you were before. Because when you focus on becoming better, you stop wasting energy watching others. You stop chasing approval. You stop feeling threatened by someone else's success. You start building. You start improving. You start becoming. And that is where true confidence begins. You do not need to win someone else's race. You need to complete your own journey. Because the person you should compete with is not standing in front of you. The person you should compete with is the person you were yesterday. Become stronger than yesterday. Become wiser than yesterday. Become more disciplined than yesterday. That is the real victory. And once you understand this, comparison loses its power over you. Because you finally realize your greatest competition was never other people. Your greatest competition was always your own potential. The moment you stop comparing your life to others, you create space for something much more powerful. Growth. Because comparison consumes energy that could have been used for improvement. Think about how much time people waste watching others. They scroll through social media. They see someone traveling. They see someone buying expensive things. They see someone announcing success. And immediately, Their mind starts creating a story. They are ahead. I am behind. They are winning. I am losing. But here is the truth. You are not losing. You are simply looking in the wrong direction. Your attention is one of your most valuable resources. Where your attention goes, your energy follows. If you spend your energy studying others, you have less energy to build yourself. If you spend your energy judging your progress, you have less energy to create progress. Successful people understand this. They protect their focus. They know that every minute spent comparing is a minute stolen from becoming better. The person who is focused on improvement does not have time to be obsessed with comparison. They are too busy learning. They are too busy practicing. They are too busy building. They are too busy becoming. This is the mindset shift you need. Stop asking, why am I not where they are? Start asking, what can I do today to move closer to where I want to be? That question puts you back in control. Because comparison focuses on things you cannot control. You cannot control another person's success. You cannot control another person's opportunities. You cannot control another person's resources. But you can control your effort. You can control your discipline. You can control your choices. And your choices create your future. A person who understands this becomes powerful because they stop wasting time fighting battles they cannot win. They stop competing with people who are not even thinking about them. They stop trying to impress people who do not matter. They start investing in themselves. That is where transformation begins. Look at any successful person. Behind their results, you will find one common habit. They focused on their own improvement. They did not wake up every day thinking, how can I prove I am better than someone else? They woke up thinking, how can I become better than I was yesterday? That is a completely different approach. One is based on ego. The other is based on growth. Ego wants attention. Growth wants improvement. Ego wants to look successful. Growth wants to become successful. Ego wants quick validation. Growth accepts the process. You must choose which one will guide your life. Because becoming better requires patience. You cannot build greatness while constantly searching for approval. You cannot create a meaningful life while constantly asking, how do I look compared to others? The better question is, am I becoming the person I want to be? Because at the end of your life, you will not regret that someone else succeeded. You will regret the moments when you ignored your own potential. You will regret the times when you allowed fear and comparison to stop you. You will regret the opportunities you avoided because you were too focused on watching someone else's journey. Your potential deserves your attention. Your goals deserve your focus. Your future deserves your commitment. Stop giving your best energy to comparison. Give it to creation. Create your skills. Create your discipline. Create your confidence. Create your future. Remember, you cannot build your own empire while constantly studying someone else's. A person who is always looking sideways cannot move forward. Imagine driving a car while constantly looking at the vehicles beside you. What happens? You lose control. You miss your direction. You increase the chance of making mistakes. Life works the same way. You need awareness of others, but your eyes must stay on your path. Learn from people. Respect people. Celebrate people's success. But do not abandon your own mission. Someone else's victory does not mean your defeat. Someone else's progress does not mean your failure. Someone else's opportunity does not mean your opportunity is gone. There is enough room for growth. There are enough possibilities. There are enough chances. The world is not a competition where only one person can succeed. Your success is not limited by someone else's success. This is a scarcity mindset. If they win, I lose. But a growth mindset says, their success proves success is possible. That mindset creates freedom because you stop seeing successful people as enemies. You start seeing them as teachers. You start studying their habits. You start learning their principles. You start understanding their discipline. And then you apply those lessons to your own journey. That is how winners think. They do not waste time being jealous. They use information. They use examples. They use inspiration. They turn observation into action. But there is another form of comparison that can be even more dangerous. Comparing yourself to your past. Many people are trapped because they constantly remember their mistakes. They say, I wasted years. I should have started earlier. I made too many mistakes. I am too far behind. But your past is a teacher, not a prison. You cannot change yesterday, but you can use yesterday's lessons to create tomorrow. The person you were 5 years ago does not have to control the person you become today. Growth means allowing yourself to change. It means accepting that you are always becoming. Maybe you were lazy before. Become disciplined now. Maybe you lacked confidence before. Build confidence now. Maybe you made bad decisions before. Make better decisions now. Your past explains you. It does not define you. That's the key. You are not competing against an old version of yourself. You are building a new version of yourself. Every day is another opportunity to improve. Every morning gives you another chance to make better choices. Every challenge gives you another chance to become stronger. So stop looking backward with regret. Start looking forward with purpose. The goal is not to become someone completely different. The goal is to remove the limitations that were holding you back. The strongest version of you already exists as potential. Your job is to reveal it. Through discipline, through consistency, through courage, through action. You have a choice. You can spend your life comparing, or you can spend your life becoming. You can watch others build, or you can start building. You can criticize your current position, or you can improve it. Because the person who focuses on becoming better will always have an advantage. Why? Because they are not distracted. They are not wasting energy proving themselves. They are using that energy to transform themselves. And transformation is the ultimate victory. Stop comparing. Start becoming. Because the best competition you will ever have is the person you are capable of becoming. There is a moment when every person must make a decision. A decision that determines whether they will spend their life chasing other people's achievements or creating their own. That decision is this. Will you continue measuring yourself against others? Or will you finally commit to becoming the best version of yourself? Because you cannot build confidence while constantly proving that you are enough. You cannot build greatness while constantly questioning your value. You cannot create your future while being trapped by someone else's present. The moment you stop comparing is the moment you become free. Free from the pressure of impressing everyone. Free from the fear of being behind. Free from the endless cycle of looking at what others have and forgetting what you can create. This freedom is powerful because now your energy returns to where it belongs. Yourself. your growth, your mission, your purpose. Many people do not realize how much potential they lose because they are constantly distracted by comparison. They spend hours watching someone else's success, but spend very little time building their own. They study someone else's lifestyle, but ignore their own habits. They analyze someone else's results, but avoid analyzing their own actions. This must change. If you want a different life, you must become more interested in your own development than other people's achievements. Study yourself. Understand yourself. Improve yourself. Your greatest investment will always be the person you are becoming. Ask yourself, what skill do I need to develop? What habit do I need to build? What weakness do I need to overcome? What action do I need to take? These questions create progress. Comparison creates distraction. Growth creates transformation. The truth is, everyone has something they are fighting. The person you envy may be fighting battles you cannot see. The person who looks successful may have struggles behind closed doors. The person who seems confident may have spent years overcoming insecurity. Never judge your life by someone's appearance. A picture does not show the full story. A result does not show the entire process. A victory does not show every failure that came before it. Everyone has a journey. Everyone has a timeline. Everyone has a beginning. You must respect your own beginning. A small step forward is still progress. A small improvement is still improvement. A small victory is still a victory. Do not allow the size of your current results to make you forget the power of consistency. A mountain is climbed one step at a time. A book is written one page at a time. A successful life is built one decision at a time. The people who achieve great things are not always the most talented. They are often the people who continue when others stop. They keep improving. They keep learning. They keep moving. They understand that progress does not need to be dramatic to be meaningful. A person who improves slowly but consistently will eventually pass the person who depends only on temporary motivation. Because discipline beats comparison. Discipline says, I will work on myself regardless of what others are doing. Discipline says, my journey matters. Discipline says, I do not need to rush because I am building something real. That is the mindset you need. You do not need to become the fastest. You need to become consistent. You do not need to become better than everyone. You need to become better than yesterday. You do not need to impress the world. You need to respect yourself. Because self-respect comes from knowing that you are giving your best. It comes from knowing that you are keeping your promises. It comes from knowing that you are becoming stronger every day. And when you develop that kind of self-respect, comparison loses its power. Someone else's success no longer threatens you. Someone else's achievements no longer make you feel smaller. Why? Because you know your path. You know your purpose. You know your focus. You are no longer competing for attention. You are building your character. You are building your future. You are becoming. Remember this. A person who constantly compares is always searching for proof that they are behind. A person who focuses on growth is always creating proof that they are improving. Which person do you want to become? The one who watches? Or the one who builds? The one who complains? Or the one who changes? The one who waits? Or the one who acts? You have a choice. Every single day, every morning when you wake up, you receive a decision. You can spend your time looking at what others are doing. or you can spend your time working on what you are capable of doing. You can feed jealousy, or you can feed ambition. You can feed insecurity, or you can feed confidence. You can feed excuses, or you can feed discipline. The person you become depends on what you choose to strengthen. So protect your mind. Be careful about what you consume. Be careful about what you focus on, because your mind is always learning from your attention. If you constantly consume things that make you feel inadequate, you will constantly feel inadequate. If you constantly focus on improvement, you will constantly improve. Your environment influences your mindset. Your mindset influences your actions. Your actions influence your results. And your results create your future. Everything begins with what you choose to focus on. So choose growth. Choose progress. Choose becoming. The world does not need another copy. It needs the strongest version of you. Your unique experiences. Your unique perspective. Your unique abilities. Your unique journey. Stop trying to become someone else. Become the person you were always capable of becoming. Because your greatest achievement will not be proving that you are better than someone else. Your greatest achievement will be proving that you did not waste your own potential. One day, you will look back and realize the person you were comparing yourself to was never your real competition. The real competition was the version of yourself that wanted to stay comfortable. The real competition was the voice that told you to give up. The real competition was the fear that stopped you from growing. And when you defeat that version of yourself, you win the only race that truly matters. The race toward your own greatness. So stop looking sideways. Stop measuring your progress against someone else's timeline. Stop allowing comparison to steal your confidence. Start focusing. Start improving. Start becoming. Because your journey is not late. Your journey is not behind. Your journey is yours. And every step you take toward becoming better is a victory. Remember, it's not about being better than them. It's about becoming better than you were yesterday. It's not about comparison. It's about discipline. It's not about proving your worth. It's about building your value. The moment you stop comparing and start becoming, your life changes. Your confidence grows. Your focus sharpens. Your potential expands. And you finally understand the truth. The greatest person you can become is not someone else. The greatest person you can become is the best version of yourself. Chapter 3. Keep the promises you make to yourself. The most important promises you will ever make are not the promises you make to other people. They are the promises you make to yourself. Because every time you make a commitment to yourself and break it, something happens that most people never notice. You lose trust in yourself. You weaken your confidence. You teach your mind that your own words do not matter. And when a person stops believing in themselves, everything becomes harder. They hesitate. They procrastinate. They lose discipline. They start looking for motivation outside because they no longer trust the power inside. But the opposite is also true. Every time you make a promise to yourself and keep it, something powerful happens. You build self-respect. You strengthen discipline. You prove to yourself that you are someone who can be trusted. And that is where real confidence begins. Confidence is not created by saying positive words in the mirror. Confidence is not created by pretending everything is perfect. Confidence is created when you repeatedly show yourself, I do what I say I will do. That is the foundation of personal power. Think about the relationship you have with another person. If someone constantly makes promises but never keeps them, what happens? You stop trusting them. Their words lose meaning. Their commitments lose value. Now imagine doing the same thing to yourself. Every morning you say, "Today I will wake up early." But you press the alarm and go back to sleep. You say, "I will start exercising." But you keep delaying. You say, "I will learn a new skill." But you spend hours doing things that do not move your life forward. You say, "I will change." But your actions remain the same. Over time, your mind begins to notice a pattern. It starts believing, "My own promises cannot be trusted." And when your mind believes that, taking action becomes difficult. Because deep inside, a part of you expects failure. But here is the good news. Self-trust can be rebuilt. You do not need one massive achievement. You do not need to completely transform your life overnight. You rebuild trust through small promises kept consistently. One decision at a time. One action at a time. One commitment at a time. The strongest people are not always the people with the biggest goals. They are often the people who have mastered the smallest commitments. They understand something important. Discipline is not built in one dramatic moment. Discipline is built through repeated proof. Every time you do something you said you would do, you cast a vote for the person you want to become. You are telling yourself, "I am disciplined. I am reliable. I am capable." Your actions become evidence, and evidence creates belief. Many people wait until they believe in themselves before they take action. But that is backwards. Action creates belief. You do not become confident and then start. You start, and confidence follows. You do not become disciplined and then keep promises. You keep promises, and discipline develops. You do not become successful and then act like a successful person. You act with commitment, and success becomes possible. This is the difference between people who dream and people who transform. Dreamers often make emotional promises. They get excited. They imagine a better future. They create huge plans. But when reality becomes difficult, the excitement disappears. The person who transforms understands that feelings change. Commitment remains. A person who depends on motivation will only work when they feel inspired. A person who depends on discipline will work because they made a decision. That is the key. Your future cannot depend on your mood. Your future must depend on your standards. If your standard is, "I only work when I feel like it," you will always be controlled by emotions. But if your standard is, "I do what needs to be done because I committed to it," you become powerful, because now you are no longer controlled by temporary feelings. You are controlled by your principles. Imagine a professional athlete. Do they train only when they feel motivated? No. There are days when they are tired. There are days when they do not want to practice. There are days when the work feels difficult. But they show up. Why? Because they are not protecting their feelings. They are protecting their commitment. That is why they become great. The same principle applies to every area of life. Your health, your career, your relationships, your personal growth, your success. Everything improves when you become a person who keeps promises. But there is a mistake many people make. They create promises that are too big. They decide, "I will completely change my life tomorrow. I will become extremely productive. I will never waste time again. I will become a different person immediately. These promises sound powerful, but they are often impossible to maintain. And when the person fails, they lose confidence again. The solution is simple. Start smaller. Make promises you can keep. Wake up 10 minutes earlier. Read 5 pages. Complete one important task. Spend 15 minutes learning. Do one workout. Small commitments create strong identities. A person who keeps small promises eventually becomes someone capable of keeping bigger promises. Do not underestimate small actions. A building is created brick by brick. A strong body is created workout by workout. A successful life is created decision by decision. Your identity is built through repetition. If you repeatedly break promises, you become someone who doubts yourself. If you repeatedly keep promises, you become someone who trusts yourself. The choice is yours. You have a choice. Every day, you have the opportunity to strengthen or weaken your relationship with yourself. Every decision is a message. When you choose discipline, you tell yourself, I matter. When you choose responsibility, you tell yourself, my future matters. When you choose action, you tell yourself, I believe in my ability to grow. This is why keeping promises to yourself is not just about productivity. It is about identity. It is about becoming someone you respect. Because at the end of the day, the most important person you need to impress is yourself. Not strangers, not critics, not people watching from the outside. Yourself. You are the person who lives with your choices. You are the person who experiences the consequences. You are the person who carries your dreams. So stop making promises you have no intention of keeping. Stop creating a version of yourself that only exists in your imagination. Start becoming that person through your actions. Because your actions are always telling a story. The question is, what story are your actions telling? Are they saying, I give up easily? Or are they saying, I finish what I start? Are they saying, I cannot trust myself? Or are they saying, I keep my word? The answer is created every day, every morning, every choice, every moment. And when you learn to keep promises to yourself, something changes. You become stronger. You become more confident. You become more disciplined. Because you finally know one powerful truth. You can trust yourself. And once you can trust yourself, there is no limit to what you can build. The relationship you have with yourself is the longest relationship you will ever have. You will spend every moment of your life with yourself. You will experience every victory with yourself. You will face every challenge with yourself. You will carry every dream with yourself. So the question is, can you trust the person you spend your entire life with? Many people want others to believe in them. They want support. They want encouragement. They want people to recognize their potential. But they forget the most important person who must believe in them first. They forget themselves. Because when you repeatedly break your own promises, you create a silent weakness inside. You may look confident on the outside. You may tell people about your goals. You may talk about your plans. But deep inside, you know the truth. You know the promises you have avoided. You know the commitments you have abandoned. You know the moments when you chose comfort instead of growth. And that creates a conflict. Your words say one thing. Your actions say another. This conflict destroys confidence. Because confidence comes from alignment. When your thoughts, words, and actions move in the same direction, you become powerful. You say you will do something, then you do it. You create a promise, then you honor it. You set a standard, then you live by it. This alignment creates self-respect, and self-respect is the foundation of personal growth. A person who respects themselves does not need constant motivation. They understand their responsibilities. They understand their goals. They understand that their future depends on their daily decisions. That is the mindset of successful people. They do not ask, "Do I feel like doing this?" They ask, "Is this necessary for the person I want to become?" That question changes everything, because your future is not built by what you feel like doing. Your future is built by what you are willing to do consistently. Think about someone who wants financial success. They say, "I want to become wealthy," but every day they spend without control. They avoid learning. They avoid improving their skills. They avoid making better decisions. The problem is not their dream. The problem is the promises they are breaking. A dream without discipline is only a wish. A goal without action is only an idea. A vision without commitment is only imagination. You must connect your dreams with your daily behavior. Your goals do not care about your intentions. Your goals respond to your actions. This is why small promises matter. Because small promises are daily opportunities to prove who you are. If you promise yourself that you will read for 20 minutes and you do it, you are building discipline. If you promise yourself that you will exercise and you do it, you are building discipline. If you promise yourself that you will focus for 1 hour and you do it, you are building discipline. The action may look small, but the identity you create is powerful. You are teaching your brain, "I am a person who follows through." And that belief changes everything. Because once you become someone who follows through, difficult goals become possible. You stop seeing challenges as threats. You start seeing them as opportunities. You stop asking, "What if I fail?" You start asking, "What can I learn?" That is the mindset of growth. But building this mindset requires one important skill: learning to control your immediate desires. Because many broken promises come from choosing short-term comfort over long-term success. You promise yourself you will wake up early, but staying in bed feels easier. You promise yourself you will study, but entertainment feels easier. You promise yourself you will improve, but old habits feel easier. The problem is not that comfort is bad. The problem is choosing comfort every time. A successful person understands the difference between comfort and growth. Comfort gives you relief today. Growth gives you results tomorrow. And sometimes, you must sacrifice a little comfort to create a better future. That is not punishment. That is investment. A person who saves money is investing in future freedom. A person who trains their body is investing in future health. A person who learns is investing in future opportunities. Every disciplined action is a gift to your future self. The question is, are you helping your future self, or are you making life harder for them? Because your future self will experience the results of today's decisions. The choices you make today become the reality you live tomorrow. This is why keeping promises matters so much. Every promise kept is a message to your future. I am building something better. But every promise broken is another delay, another excuse, another step away from the person you want to become. You do not need to be perfect. You need to be consistent. Everyone makes mistakes. Everyone has difficult days. Everyone falls sometimes. The difference is what you do next. A weak mindset says, I failed, so I quit. A strong mindset says, I failed, so I learn and continue. Do not allow one broken promise to become a broken identity. If you miss one day, return the next day. If you make a mistake, correct it. If you fall, stand again. The goal is not perfection. The goal is becoming someone who always returns to the path. That is real discipline. Discipline is not never struggling. Discipline is continuing despite struggle. It is choosing your goals even when distractions appear. It is choosing your future even when comfort calls. It is choosing the person you want to become over the person you have always been. That is the battle. Every day, a battle between your current habits and your future potential. And every promise you keep is a victory. You become stronger. You become more reliable. You become more confident. Because you prove something important. You are capable of leading yourself. And if you can lead yourself, you can achieve almost anything. Many people want to lead others. They want influence. They want respect. They want success. But leadership begins with self-leadership. Before you can control a team, control your habits. Before you can inspire others, inspire yourself through your actions. Before you can build something great, build trust with yourself. That is the foundation. Everything starts here. The person who keeps promises to themselves becomes unstoppable because they no longer depend on external pressure. They do not need someone forcing them. They do not need someone reminding them. They have developed inner discipline. They have created a standard, and that standard becomes their advantage. Remember, it is not about making bigger promises. It is about keeping the promises you already made. Because every promise you keep builds the person you are becoming. And every day, you have another opportunity to prove that person is real. You have a choice. You can continue making promises and breaking them. Or you can start becoming the person who keeps their word. The choice determines your future. There will come a day when life tests every promise you have ever made to yourself. Not on an easy morning. Not when you feel inspired. Not when everything is going your way. Your promises will be tested on the days when you are tired. When progress feels invisible. When nobody is encouraging you. When quitting seems easier than continuing. Those are the moments that reveal your true character. Because character is not built when life is comfortable. Character is built when comfort is no longer an option. Anyone can stay committed when everything feels exciting. Anyone can work hard when the results come quickly. Anyone can believe in themselves after they succeed. But the people who transform their lives are different. They continue before the reward arrives. They stay disciplined before anyone notices. They remain faithful to their commitments long before success becomes visible. That is what separates temporary motivation from lasting discipline. Motivation says, I'll do it when I feel ready. Discipline says, I'll do it because I made a promise. Motivation depends on emotion. Discipline depends on identity. Ask yourself this question. Who are you becoming every time you choose your excuses over your commitments? Every excuse may feel small. I'll start tomorrow. I'll skip just this once. I'll do it later. But repeated excuses become habits. And habits become identity. One missed workout may not seem important. One day of procrastination may not seem dangerous. One broken promise may seem harmless, but life is rarely changed by one decision. Life is changed by repeated decisions. In the same way, trust is not built in one moment. It is built one promise at a time. Imagine trying to build a bridge across a river. Every promise you keep adds another strong piece to that bridge. Every promise you break removes one. Eventually, you either build a bridge that carries your dreams, or you create gaps that stop you from crossing. Your future depends on the bridge you build today. That is why you must become careful with your own words. Do not promise what you will not protect. Do not create goals you refuse to work for. Let your actions speak louder than your intentions. There is something incredibly powerful about becoming a person whose actions match their words. People notice it. More importantly, you notice it. Every completed task tells your mind, I finish what I begin. Every difficult decision tells your mind, I am stronger than my comfort. Every disciplined day tells your mind, I can trust myself. This is how confidence grows. Not through applause, not through luck, not through wishing, through evidence. Evidence created by consistent action. Many people spend years searching for confidence. They read books. They watch motivational videos. They wait for a breakthrough. But confidence is rarely found. It is built, brick by brick, choice by choice, promise by promise. You become confident because you repeatedly prove that you can rely on yourself. And once that happens, fear begins to lose its power. Because you know something that fear does not. You know that no matter how difficult the challenge becomes, you will not abandon yourself. That realization changes everything. It changes the way you approach problems. It changes the way you handle failure. It changes the way you see your future. Instead of asking, what if I fail? You begin asking, what if I keep going? Instead of asking, what if I am not good enough? You begin asking, what can I improve today? Those questions create progress. The direction of your life is determined by the quality of the questions you ask yourself. Ask weak questions, and you will find weak answers. Ask powerful questions, and your mind will search for powerful solutions. So ask yourself every morning, what promise will I keep today? Not next week, not next month, today. Because today is the only place where your future can be built. Yesterday cannot be changed. Tomorrow has not arrived. But today is completely in your hands. Protect it. Use it wisely. One focused hour today is more valuable than 10 hours of empty planning. One completed promise today is more valuable than 100 promises for tomorrow. Action always defeats intention. Remember, you don't need to change your entire life in one day. You only need to win today. Win today's decisions. Win today's habits. Win today's mindset. Then repeat tomorrow. Success is simply ordinary discipline repeated for an extraordinary length of time. That is why consistency always defeats intensity. Anyone can work hard for one day. Few people continue for 1 year. Anyone can make a promise. Few people protect that promise when life becomes difficult. Become one of those few. Become the person who can be counted on, especially by yourself. Because the world may doubt you. People may criticize you. Opportunities may disappear. Plans may change. But if you have built trust with yourself, you will always have something solid to stand on. That inner trust becomes your foundation. It keeps you moving when motivation disappears. It keeps you focused when distractions multiply. It keeps you calm when circumstances become uncertain. You no longer need perfect conditions. You have built an unbreakable standard. And standards are stronger than emotions. Standards do not change because your mood changes. Standards remain. That is the key. Stop chasing motivation. Start building standards. Stop making emotional promises. Start making meaningful commitments. Stop hoping your future will improve. Start proving it through your actions. Every sunrise gives you another opportunity, another chance to keep your word, another chance to become stronger, another chance to earn your own respect. Do not waste that opportunity. The greatest victories are often invisible at first. Nobody applauds the person who quietly wakes up early. Nobody celebrates the person who chooses discipline over distraction. Nobody notices the private battles you win. But those private victories create public success. The world eventually sees the results. It rarely sees the sacrifices. So keep showing up. Keep your word. Keep building your future one promise at a time. Because one day you will look back and realize that your life did not change because of one extraordinary moment. It changed because you made one simple decision: to become a person who could trust themselves. That decision changed your habits. Your habits changed your identity. Your identity changed your future. And your future became the proof that discipline always wins. So from this day forward, make fewer promises, but keep every one you make. Because every promise you protect is another step toward the life you deserve. Every promise you honor is another victory over the person you used to be. Every promise you keep tells your mind, I believe in myself. And eventually, you won't have to convince yourself that you are capable. Your daily actions will already have done that. You have a choice. Choose comfort, and your dreams will wait. Choose commitment, and your future will begin. Choose excuses, and your potential will remain hidden. Choose discipline, and your potential will become reality. Keep your word. Protect your standards. Trust your actions. Become the person your future is waiting for. Because in the end, the strongest promise you will ever keep is the promise that you will never give up on yourself. Chapter 4. Think like the person you want to become. Every action begins with a thought. Before you speak, you think. Before you decide, you think. Before you give up, you think. Before you change your life, you think. That is why the quality of your life will never rise above the quality of your thinking. If your thoughts are filled with fear, your actions will become smaller. If your thoughts are filled with excuses, your progress will slow down. If your thoughts are filled with possibility, your actions will begin to match that belief. The life you create is first built inside your mind. Long before success becomes visible to the world, it begins as an invisible decision within you. A decision to think differently. A decision to see yourself differently. A decision to believe that the person you want to become is not just a dream, but a direction. Most people make one mistake that quietly keeps them trapped. They ask, what do I need to do to become successful? It sounds like a good question, but there is a better one. How would the person I want to become think? Because actions come from identity, and identity is shaped by thought. A disciplined person thinks differently from a distracted person. A confident person thinks differently from an insecure person. A leader thinks differently from someone waiting to be rescued. If you want different results, you must first develop a different way of thinking. Imagine two people facing the exact same challenge. Both lose an important opportunity. The first person says, "This always happens to me. I am unlucky. Maybe I am not capable." The second person says, "What can I learn from this? How can I improve? What should I do differently next time?" The situation is identical. The outcome is completely different. Not because of the event, because of the thinking. One mindset creates excuses. The other creates growth. This is why your internal conversation matters so much. You are talking to yourself every single day. Even when you are silent, you are constantly telling yourself stories. Stories about your abilities. Stories about your future. Stories about your limitations. The question is, are those stories helping you become stronger? Or are they keeping you exactly where you are? Many people unknowingly repeat the same negative script every day. I never finish anything. I am terrible at this. I always fail. I am not smart enough. I am too late. After repeating these thoughts thousands of times, they begin to feel true. But repetition does not create truth. It creates familiarity. Your mind believes what it hears repeatedly, whether it is helpful or harmful. That means you must become the guardian of your own thoughts. Not every thought deserves your attention. Not every fear deserves your belief. Not every doubt deserves your obedience. A thought is only the beginning. You decide whether it becomes your reality. Think about a gardener. If weeds begin growing in a garden, they are removed. The gardener does not ignore them. The gardener understands that if weeds are allowed to grow, they will eventually take over. Your mind works the same way. Negative thoughts are like weeds. If you feed them, they spread. If you challenge them, they lose strength. If you replace them with stronger beliefs, your mindset changes. This is not about pretending that life is easy. It is about refusing to let negative thinking become your permanent identity. Successful people are not positive every minute of every day. They experience fear. They experience disappointment. They experience uncertainty. The difference is that they do not build their identity around those emotions. They choose a stronger perspective. When something goes wrong, they ask, "What is this situation teaching me?" When they make a mistake, they ask, "How can I improve?" When they fail, they ask, "What is my next move?" Notice the pattern. Their focus stays on growth, not blame, not self-pity, not excuses. Growth. That is why they continue moving forward while others remain stuck. Because your direction is determined by your dominant thoughts. If you constantly think about obstacles, you will become afraid of taking action. If you constantly think about opportunities, you will begin seeing possibilities everywhere. Your mind searches for evidence that supports your beliefs. Believe that you are powerless, and your mind will collect proof. Believe that you are capable of learning, and your mind will collect different proof. This is why beliefs matter. They become filters through which you experience life. A person who believes, "I can improve," looks at criticism as feedback. A person who believes, "I am not good enough," looks at criticism as confirmation of failure. The same event, two completely different interpretations. That is the power of thinking. Now imagine the person you dream of becoming. Perhaps they are disciplined. Perhaps they are calm under pressure. Perhaps they are financially successful. Perhaps they are physically healthy. Perhaps they inspire others. Now ask yourself one simple question. How would that person think today? Would they complain about every obstacle? Or would they search for solutions? Would they spend hours worrying? Or would they spend those hours preparing? Would they blame circumstances? Or would they take responsibility? Every answer gives you a new standard, because becoming someone new begins with thinking like someone new. Many people try to change their actions without changing their mindset. They force themselves to work harder for a few days. They try a new habit. They stay motivated for a week. Then they return to old behaviors. Why? Because their identity never changed. Their thoughts remain the same. Real transformation happens when your thinking changes first. When your identity changes, your habits begin to follow. A person who sees themselves as disciplined naturally protects their time. A person who sees themselves as healthy naturally makes better choices. A person who sees themselves as a lifelong learner naturally keeps improving. Identity drives behavior. That is the key. Stop asking, what do I have to do? Start asking, who do I need to become? Because once you become that person in your thinking, your actions begin to reflect that identity. Your choices become stronger. Your discipline becomes natural. Your confidence becomes real. Not because life became easier, but because your thinking became stronger. Remember this. Your future is not created by one big decision. It is created by thousands of small thoughts that influence thousands of small actions. Protect those thoughts. Guide them. Strengthen them. Because every great life is built twice. First in the mind, then in reality. And the person you become tomorrow depends on the way you choose to think today. The person you want to become is not created by wishing. They are created by thinking, choosing, and acting differently. You cannot keep the same mindset, the same excuses, the same habits, and expect a completely different life. Something must change. And that change begins with the way you interpret yourself. Most people look at their current situation and say, "This is who I am." But your current situation is not your permanent identity. It is simply the result of your previous choices. If you are not disciplined today, that does not mean you cannot become disciplined. If you are not confident today, that does not mean you cannot become confident. If you are struggling financially today, that does not mean your entire future must look the same. Your present is a position. It is not a prison. The moment you understand this, you stop defining yourself by your current circumstances. You start defining yourself by your direction. And direction matters more than speed. You may not be where you want to be, but if you are moving in the right direction, you are already changing. Think about a person who wants to become physically strong. They cannot simply stand in front of a mirror and imagine muscles appearing. They have to train. They have to eat differently. They have to recover. They have to repeat the process. But before all of that, they need to think like someone who takes their health seriously. Their identity changes first. Instead of saying, "I am trying to exercise," they begin thinking, "I am a person who takes care of my body." That small change in language creates a different standard. When you think of yourself as someone who takes care of their body, you begin making decisions differently. You become more careful about what you eat. You become more consistent with training. You become more protective of your sleep. The behavior follows the identity. The same principle works everywhere. If you want to become successful, begin thinking like someone who take Responsibility. If you want to become disciplined, begin thinking like someone who honors commitments. If you want to become a leader, begin thinking like someone who solves problems instead of constantly complaining about them. If you want to become confident, begin thinking like someone who is willing to act despite uncertainty. You don't wait until you become that person. You practice being that person now. This is where many people misunderstand personal growth. They think transformation means becoming perfect. It does not. Transformation means becoming more intentional. It means catching yourself when you return to old thinking. It means noticing when excuses appear. It means asking, is this how the person I want to become would think? That question can stop you in the middle of a bad decision. Imagine you have an important task. You are tired. Your mind says, skip it today. You pause. Then you ask, would the disciplined version of me skip this? Maybe the answer is no. So you begin. You do not need to feel motivated. You simply act according to the identity you are building. That is how identity becomes real. One decision at a time. One day at a time. One difficult moment at a time. You are constantly training your brain. Every time you choose discipline, you make discipline easier. Every time you choose courage, you make courage stronger. Every time you choose responsibility, responsibility becomes part of your identity. And every time you choose an excuse, you strengthen the habit of escaping discomfort. This is why small decisions matter. People often wait for huge opportunities to change their lives. But your life is being shaped right now by ordinary moments. How you respond to criticism, how you use your free time, how you speak to yourself, what you do when nobody is watching. What you choose when comfort and growth are placed in front of you. These moments reveal who you are becoming. So stop waiting for a dramatic transformation. Build yourself through ordinary decisions. There is another powerful shift you must make. Stop thinking like a victim. This does not mean pretending that problems are not real. Problems are real. Difficult circumstances are real. Unfair situations exist. People can hurt you. Plans can fail. But you still have a choice in how you respond. A victim mindset asks, why is this happening to me? A responsible mindset asks, what can I do now? That question gives you power. Maybe you cannot control what happened, but you can control what happens next. Maybe you cannot change the past, but you can change the next decision. Maybe you cannot control other people, but you can control your response. That is strength. The person you want to become takes responsibility for their response. They do not waste their entire life waiting for perfect circumstances. They use the circumstances they have. They adapt. They learn. They move. And when they fail, they recover. This is how resilient people think. They understand that setbacks are not instructions to stop. They are information. Failure tells you something. Rejection tells you something. Mistakes tell you something. The question is whether you are willing to listen. A weak mindset says, I failed. A stronger mindset says, I discovered what does not work. That single change in thinking can transform your entire life. Because now failure becomes feedback. And feedback becomes improvement. And improvement creates progress. This is why you should never be afraid of making mistakes. Be afraid of refusing to learn from them. You will make mistakes. You will have bad days. You will make poor decisions. That is part of being human. But you do not have to remain the same person after every mistake. You can become wiser, stronger, more prepared, more disciplined. more aware. Your goal is not to avoid every problem. Your goal is to become the kind of person who can handle problems. That is a completely different goal. You are not trying to create a life without challenges. You are building a mind that can survive challenges. And when you think like the person you want to become, difficulties begin to look different. You stop asking, how can I avoid this? You start asking, how can I use this? That is the mindset of growth. You turn pressure into preparation. You turn mistakes into lessons. You turn setbacks into strength. You turn fear into action. And slowly, you become the person you once only imagined. Remember, your thoughts are instructions. Be careful what instructions you give yourself. If you constantly tell yourself that you are weak, you will hesitate. If you constantly tell yourself that you are incapable, you will avoid challenges. But if you tell yourself, I can learn, I can improve, I can handle difficulty, I can become better, you begin creating a different internal world. And that internal world eventually shapes your external life. So think carefully. Think intentionally. Think like the person you want to become. Because one day, your thoughts will become your habits. Your habits will become your identity. And your identity will become your life. Believing you are the best does not mean believing you are better than everyone else. It means believing you are responsible for becoming the best version of yourself. You have learned that confidence is built through discipline, self-respect, resilience, action, and continuous growth. Stop comparing. Stop waiting. Stop doubting. Every decision you make today is shaping the person you become tomorrow. The world does not reward those who merely hope. It rewards those who prepare, persist, and improve. Starting today, walk differently. Think differently. Act differently. Keep your promises to yourself. Build the habits that prove your belief. Your future is waiting for one decision. Make that decision now and never look back. Believe you are the best, and then do the work that makes it true.